What is up? It's another episode of TGG Plus with me, your host, your favorite son, and my co-host, as always, Evan Prince.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. Let's be honest. It's mostly gentlemen.
Mostly
We know.
gentlemen.
We know.
We've seen the demographics. We've seen the numbers.
I've seen my analytics.
Yeah, I've seen mine. We got some news this week. Warner Brothers might be coming back to the Batman series.
Well, they said they are. They said it like definitively.
Well, I was trying to titillate. I was trying to titillate the audience.
Right.
Tease them a little bit. You got to tease them in this game. But that's okay. The voice actress for Metal Gear Solid 3 officially revealed years later. Alan Wake 2, Netflix AI, Horizon Zero Dawn remasters, sales. Got a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll get into it. But first, make sure you like the stream.
Always like the stream.
And make sure, even if you don't like the stream, even if you don't support the channel, make sure you just enjoy the show. That's number one. Number two is, how's your week? What you been up to?
My week has been, it's been pretty grindy, I would say. I got the T-posing. So, oh yeah, it's, normally I go live a couple times a week, and I haven't even been doing that because I've been working on a couple of pretty big videos. And then I think I told you I got a sponsor that I've been working out a deal with. So that's happening now. I'll save what's going down with that for later. So it's just been work, man. I haven't really been doing anything all that exciting. Almost talked myself into buying Slitterhead, but talked myself out of it.
Oh shit, that came out today, didn't it? I forgot. I gotta play that.
Yeah, I talked myself out of it because I just have too much work to do before the end of the year.
That's fair.
Yeah, man, just work in the famous house.
Yeah, that's fair. There's been a couple games so far that I haven't been able to partake in just because I've been similarly busy lately. I had a little rant I wanted to get into. I got scammed.
You got scammed. Yeah, you mentioned this. What happened? What caused this scam?
So I placed a couple orders a few weeks ago, right? I was I don't have that much like physical media. I mean, if you can see behind me, I have a little shelf that appears in some of my videos. Oh, I think I'm being assaulted. That was my
What's
dog.
going down out there?
That was my dog. Somebody's probably walking by. I bought a few things a couple weeks ago, and they took forever to get here. And one of the things that I got was this very nice, beautiful X-Files box set, right? Very cool.
Yeah, I think I saw that in the background earlier.
Yeah, it has all the seasons of the show, even the revival seasons. It's got special features, all kinds of cool stuff. And I was really excited about it. It took forever to get here. It's super expensive. Finally gets here, and it's destroyed. I'm talking the box it came in had holes in it. It was like taped around the middle of the box. Like it was exposed to the air, and it was destroyed. It looked like somebody kicked the box. Like
what the fuck?
The backs of half of the Blu-rays were like cracked at the bottom. And like, yeah, like I'm talking destroyed, completely destroyed. I obviously like the discs are all okay, and like they mostly look fine. Like I can deal with it, whatever. I ended up getting a refund, which, I normally don't go complaining or doing anything like that, but I had to this time. It felt justified.
Do you think it happened in the shipping process, or?
I guess so. Something, maybe it was in a warehouse and somebody hit it with a forklift fork, something. Yeah. I have no idea. But that happened. And then a couple days later, something I also ordered a few weeks back got here. And so I don't have a lot of physical games. I have a lot of books, and I have some other things here and there. I would say books and figures are probably the things I have the most of, but I don't have a lot of actual physical games. And I wanted to get a bunch of games, and I wanted to start like collecting all of the Silent Hill games. So I ordered some Silent Hill games on eBay, and I order a lot of stuff on eBay. Every time I order stuff on eBay, I look into who's selling it. I look at the reviews, all that stuff. Seemed legit, seemed cool. So I ordered a lot of Silent Hill 2, 3, 4, Origins, and Shattered Memories, all on PS2. Okay.
Okay, cool.
And they get here, and they're in like cellophane wrap, like their original packaging. And I was like, that's fucking weird, because it wasn't advertised as like original packaging. And that would like make me believe that it would be way more expensive if they were in their original packaging. So I was like, that's kind of odd. And I noticed that this was, this had to be like aftermarket wrap. Somebody wrapped these recently.
Had to be.
So I start unwrapping them, and I start to notice things look a little strange. If you can, you probably aren't going to be able to see this on camera, but like the print is like bleeding into the paper, like it's
oh no,
it's just paper. It's not
the original print.
It's not the original print. I open the packaging. The disc is printed on, it's all washed out. You can kind of,
you got bootlegs, man.
Dude, these are full bootlegs. The manuals are on printer paper. Like, it's not thick. It's fucked. And they're all like that, man. They're all fucking like that. Every single one. They're legit bootlegs. They're straight up bootlegs.
I'm straight up about to go check my Silent Hill copies right now.
I feel like you would notice. It's so obvious. If you could see it in person, you'd be like, oh yeah. Because if you look, even if you just look at the mature thing like there, you can see it's just bleeding in.
Are they all like that?
Yeah, they're all like that. And you can even feel the cases aren't even legit. Like, the cases are not even PlayStation disc cases. They're just like generic thin DVD cases. You can see they're super bendy.
Are you willing to divulge how much you paid, or ballpark it maybe?
I'll say this. I paid, what I paid was so little I should have already been suspicious. And it wasn't, but it was still too much to get scammed on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, damn.
It was in that
so did you report
them
or anything? Did you take action?
I have not taken action yet, but I will be. I don't know. I don't even know what action I can take. I don't think I can get a refund on eBay. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
You can.
Can you?
Yeah, my brother sells on eBay like as a side hobby. He sells shit all the time. You can get refunds.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look into it, because they got me good. And listen, I order shit on eBay all the time. I order stuff on like all the time. The CRTs I have behind me, I got those on eBay. I got a lot recently of vintage UFC, or not UFC, Pride FC MMA tapes of like the cards. I get shit on eBay all the time, but I've never been scammed before.
You should I mean, do you plan on like keeping those?
I don't know what that's my thing is. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do with these.
You should give them away. You should do a giveaway, but just be very transparent. These are bootlegs, but you should make sure they work, obviously.
Yeah,
because a lot of people would actually probably be okay with having copies of the originals, even if they're bootleg, just to play them. So you could probably do like a giveaway. I've thought about doing that with my copies. Of course, mine, I'm pretty sure mine are real, so it'd be worth more. But you could do like a giveaway, and like maybe you could either do one big giveaway, or you could do each game
like
goes to someone else.
Yeah,
that would be really cool. And we could do something like, you could do something like that for a video, or do it for the podcast. But that'd be really cool. I think people love shit like that. And also, I mean, do you really actually want bootleg copies of the games? I mean, there's probably people who'd be excited to play them for the first time, like authentic on the original console, and that would be a very affordable way to do it.
If they work, I mean, yeah, I would totally be willing to do that. I don't know. It's just so weird though. When I was thinking about it, I was like, what are these discs? Like, did somebody go,
They probably burned them.
They just burned like a fucking disk image onto.
Yeah, probably just burn the ISO onto
So
the
will it
onto the
work?
disc.
So it should theoretically work in a PlayStation 2, right?
Yeah, I imagine, unless it's really that big of a scam. I mean, you should definitely verify and like play through like 30 minutes of each game to make sure before you do a giveaway. But
Sphere Hunter in chat. Thank you. Classic Silent Hill eBay scams. Yeah, I got your boy got pretty good. It's all right. I'm not going to reveal the actual number of how much money they got me for.
Right.
They won't be getting me again. They might get me again. That's the thing, is they definitely probably will. Yeah, so we could do a giveaway. I think it would be fun. It would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
But yeah, that's my woes this week, is I didn't really get scammed. I kind of got a free broken X-Files box set, and then I got scammed on the Silent Hill stuff. So it was kind of karma. Right. It was like karmic justice. I got a really expensive X-Files box set, sort of broken, for free. And then I got scammed on the Silent Hill. So it paid itself off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's I mean, that's crazy, man. But it could be a cool way to spend what started as a scam into a fun giveaway project. That's my take on it.
That's fair. Yeah. Other than that, I've just been playing. I'm back on the worst Steam games bandwagon. So I've just been playing shitty Steam games all week.
Playing some bad games.
Yeah. And it's just getting these games to work is the most painful part. I don't mind playing bad games in general, like a game that's just not that good, whatever. But like,
yeah,
playing, like getting them to work is the painful part. Like, oh, it crashed. What do? I can't look it up because nobody's fucking played this game before. So I just got to troubleshoot it. And then like, oh, it's like not recording footage because it doesn't even know that it's an exe on my computer. You know, like all that shit is just, that's more of a pain in the ass than anything, you know?
There's a lot of Steam games that I've heard about being just complete mess.
Yeah. Yeah, I have 120 of them. Be on my channel soon. I need to watch X-Files. Everybody should watch X-Files. Everybody in the world should watch X-Files. Evan still hasn't seen X-Files.
That's true. I haven't, which is crazy because it's like right up my alley.
Yeah, it is. You really should give it a watch. You wanna hop into the news?
Yeah, let's talk about this Batman thing. Does the world need more Batman games?
Yeah. So WB, you know more about this story, so why don't you talk about it? Because I haven't looked into it too much.
Essentially, WB, it's not just Batman. There's a couple of like core franchises that Warner Brothers just basically, they kind of just made like a promise to the people. They're like, hey, we are now greenlighting and actively pursuing these projects from these series. And one of them was Batman games. They're like, we want to get back to Batman. So they're wanting to get away from like Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad, like non-Batman characters. They want to go back to Batman. And I need to go check what the other franchises that they were talking about were. But the Batman thing interested me because a statement like that, and I think, this is something we've talked about on the podcast several times, but a statement like that is not, it might seem like it's them talking to their audience, but it's really them talking to their shareholders.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So a statement of, don't worry, we're pivoting back to Batman is them saying we're pivoting back to what we know makes money. Yeah. Right. We're actively pursuing projects that will utilize the Batman character, the Batman IP. And a lot of people are excited about that. They're like, more Arkham games. I don't think it'll be Arkham, but I think it will be Batman. I think that's interesting, but I'm torn on it because I want more Batman games. Obviously, I like Batman. I like Batman games, but I don't know. I think it's a shame that the message they took from all of that was people aren't interested in comic book IPs that don't center around Batman. You know what I mean?
Well, I do think it's going to be more Arkham games because there was a rumor going around like a month ago before this that Rocksteady their next game was going to be an Arkham game.
That might be the case.
So I think it is. And I don't necessarily, you could be totally right. Maybe they did take the wrong messaging from the reception to Suicide Squad. And they were just like, oh yeah, people just don't want other IPs. That could be.
What was Gotham Knights too?
Yeah, Gotham Knights. It could be that, but I think it's just that they know people are going to come back for another Arkham game, another straightforward single player Arkham game, and they don't necessarily know if people will come back for a single player other IP game because they haven't tried that yet. It's always been co-op.
Well, they are doing the Wonder Woman game, so there's that.
That's fair. Yeah, I just think it's guaranteed to make money. It's kind of like a surefire bet where it was kind of we've been talking about Remedy a lot lately with that kind of thing, where like Control is their surefire bet, and I think Arkham is probably Rocksteady's. Warner Brothers, they just reported recently too that they had a massive loss with Multiversus. So they need their games division definitely needs something.
Yeah, you need
to
a win.
Yeah, for sure.
So did you ever play Gotham Knights?
No, I didn't even touch it.
That boy Aqua has been talking about Gotham Knights a little bit. I don't know if you've seen him talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he had the take that it's actually a pretty good game and it was treated unfairly. I don't know that I think that it was a great game. But the problem, I really like the concept of that game. Actually, I really do. I watched a bunch of the cutscenes and I saw comparisons of like the environment from that to Arkham Knight, and there's a lot of problems with that game. The writing is not great, and there's the way that the characters are done is really not. It's not very cool in my opinion. But I like the concept a lot, and I hope that we can still get something kind of like that. Maybe not necessarily Gotham Knights, but like a Batman Beyond game. People have been clamoring for that for a while, or a Nightwing game. It's not likely, and I think that the fact that Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad really weren't received all that well, I just hope that I feel like WB is going to take the message that, okay, they want Batman, we got you, and I don't know if that is or isn't the case, but I kind of just hope that's not the case. I
don't think it's fully the case, but what it seems like to me is that I think with a lot of these AAA studios, especially these days, the market is in such a way that like if you get a hit, you can do one of two things. You can leverage that hit to make something that might be pushing boundaries a little bit more, trying something new for what you're known for, or you can just keep recycling that thing and making as much money as possible. And when people take the first path, and that new thing doesn't do as well, they got to go back to the old thing. And then it just becomes this flip-flopping of like, okay, let's make enough money to try a new thing again. And then we'll try a new thing. And then we'll just make enough money and then try a new thing. And I don't think it's exactly like a bad business model. I think if it's working, it's not even necessarily if it's working. If it's fulfilling your creative interests to, pursue new things in the in-between, then it's doing more than most. You're not just making a million battle pass games and churning in as much money as you can. You're trying to push something somewhere.
Well, I mean, me, I always I tend to try to understand where publishers are coming from. I try to be very open to the fact that they need to make money. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of times
you're the corpo shill of this show.
Yeah. I hate that because I've spent so much of my life not being that, but I feel like we're at such a point now where people they refuse to even account for the fact that people need to make money to produce these things.
Yeah.
So I do tend to try to understand that. And the fact is, Batman game is going to make them money. It just is. You know what I mean? I'd buy it. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. I have high hopes that we'll get something else. Like maybe the Wonder Woman game will be pretty good. I mean, Monolith's behind it. I love Monolith. I don't think I've played a bad Monolith game in my life. Fear 1, 2, the Shadow games, the Lord of the Rings Shadow games. So I imagine the Wonder Woman game will be pretty good. We'll see.
Well, I mean, Warner Brothers, don't they own all the Lego games?
I think that's probably what's keeping them afloat right now.
Yeah, I was just gonna say they can just make like 1 million more Lego games, and then
what's a franchise you'd love to see Lego-fied?
None of them. I haven't played a Lego.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, Horizon. I mean, they already did it, man. They did it. They
I
took
know.
my idea and what else could I want? What more could I ask for? I'd be greedy, you know?
I actually kind of like the Lego games, man. They're fun
I
little
think they're
mind
good.
numbing. Yeah,
I think they're good.
I like them.
Like I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I haven't played them in so long. I played a ton of the Star Wars ones
Love
when I
those.
was younger. I think I might have played like one of the Harry Potter ones when I was younger too, but I just haven't. I like those games appealed to me when I was a kid a lot, especially because of like the collectathon, especially the Star Wars ones. Those were great for the collectathon.
Yeah, I love collectathon games.
Aspect, but as an adult, I don't know. It just doesn't really appeal to me anymore. And especially the series that they adapt aren't really like Harry Potter, Star Wars.
We're not seeing Lego
Hobbit.
Game of Thrones, is what you're saying.
I don't think I would even play a Lego Game of Thrones game. I
don't think anybody would.
Maybe if they made Lego X-Files, I'd play that. Maybe that. But it would have to be something that's like so out of pocket, so weird. Like
it wouldn't make any
is
sense.
adapted.
Yeah, they adapt like major franchises.
Yeah. I just don't. They're like adapting stuff that's already been.
Lego Metal Gear. I'd play Lego Metal Gear.
Yeah,
I'd play the shit out of Lego Metal Gear.
They're adapting stuff that's already been so tapped, and the well is already so dry. That it's like it's the safest idea to adapt it. So I just like Horizon, for example. You know, like a game series that's already been so sucked dry for all of its contents. Why not make a fucking Lego game out of it? You know. Yeah. It just doesn't really appeal to me. But I don't think they're bad games. They're really well, most of the time, really well developed. They work really well. They play really well, and they're just smooth. You know, they're just they're good. And
they're it's kind of like playing through. The thing I really liked about the Lego Star Wars games is that it's a fun way to play through an adaptation of the movie that doesn't suck.
It's true.
Those are kind of rare.
Did you ever play Revenge of the Sith, the PS2 game?
I'm doing a video on that right now. I'm writing a script for it.
Really?
I just finished playing the whole thing like 2 days ago. That's one of the games I've been playing.
Does it hold up? I haven't played it in forever.
It was kind of weird that
it's really short, isn't it? I remember it being like 6 hours or something.
It's pretty short. Yeah, it's about 6 hours, which is probably a good thing because there's not a lot to that game. I actually just finished writing a part of that in the script where I'm like, this game's entire gameplay loop is kill bad guys and an enemy, do a scripted animation to get to the next area, and then repeat.
Yeah,
it's just that the entire time.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's kind of like a beat 'em up hack and slash, but it's so heavy and like weighty and janky that I had like a weird thing happen where it's like I was playing the first couple levels, I was like, this is actually pretty fun. Then the next couple of levels, I was like, this is so unresponsive, it's a nightmare. And then about the last third of the game, I got used to how weighty and janky it is. And it went back to being fun again because I had gotten good. I had learned the controls and overcome it and be like, okay, so it's not fun until you like give up what you think how you should play it and accept playing it the way that it needs to be played, and now it's fun again.
Yeah,
it holds up. It's fun.
I know what you mean when you say that, because I've played so many games like that where I'm just like you're like on the edge of getting like rage from like how the game doesn't work, and then you're just like, I guess I have to just do this. Like it exactly like beats you into submission, and then you're like, okay, Overlord, you rule me now, whatever.
And then you basically you accept that you're going to play it the way it wants you to play it, not how you think you want to play it.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
You fall into the matrix, you give in, fine, whatever.
Yeah, I like that game, but it's not a bad game, but it's weird. I've never really played anything else like it, honestly.
I remember getting that game on release, and my somebody got it for me, and it was like $60, and I remember beating it really quickly, and they were like upset that I had beat it so fast because it was $60.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? And like they were like, well, you didn't even get that. And I was like, I'll replay it. Like, I'm gonna play it again, you know.
It
was like that time.
I don't want to go on a whole rant about this, but that game kind of embodies a big problem with LucasArts at the time. And I think it's part of what, because LucasArts actually started getting into like financial problems a couple years after that. That's why so many projects were getting canceled. There's a bunch of games on that my most recent video about canceled Star Wars games that were canceled because LucasArts was struggling financially. And that game is a big reason why, I think, because everything in that game is like built from the ground up. It's
Mm.
entirely unique. There's, it's not like the Van Helsing game where it's like, this is just Devil May Cry with some alterations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith, that game is completely like homemade. It's all built from the ground up. And it's only like 6 hours, but there's bonus missions, one of which you play as General Grievous, and he has all of these custom move sets.
I remember
There's
that.
one bonus level where you play as Yoda.
Yes.
And it's really, really fun.
Yes.
And he bounces all over the place, and it's actually, he's one of the better feeling characters to play, and it lasts like 6 minutes and it's done.
Jeez.
And they never released another game that played like that.
Mhm.
That's the only one that they didn't like take this foundation they had built for a really interesting and fun like lightsaber beat 'em up game and then make another one that's like an upgraded version of that. They built this entire fucking game, and then that was it. They moved on, which is insane. Like,
I mean, that
you put all
probably
this.
that probably happened a lot in that era, just because it was like, this is how you make a game, I guess. You know, like,
Right.
like this is, you just do everything from scratch and make the game. I don't know. You know, that I can imagine that happened a lot in the idea of like repurposing tech, especially to people who were new to the industry, was probably pretty foreign.
But if you look at a lot of the more successful developers, I think, or even successful franchises, they would build a foundation that was smooth, and then they would continue to release either sequels or original IPs on the same idea. Look at id Software,
Yep.
Wolfenstein 3D, Doom, Quake 3. All of these games they were built upon the exact same foundation of the original, even if they were like a different IP. Or Metal Gear Solid, the Mario games. They were saving themselves trouble by not building a brand new fucking engine basically every time they wanted to make a game. And so many of LucasArts games are that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, who developed that game? Do you know?
LucasArts.
Oh, they just, it was in-house.
It was in-house. There's like plethora. That's what I'm saying. A big problem with LucasArts is that most of their in-house games feel completely unrelated to the others in terms of tech, because they built it from the ground up every time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that has to just be a sign of the times kind of thing, you know? And because it makes me think about the developers that would like scrap code in Japan.
Yeah.
And those things are just lost forever. Like it was early in the game, or in the medium's history. And they just, didn't know how to do things yet. So it was, let's just make a whole thing from scratch. And then, we'll just do it again next time. Especially being, a film company originally, not a game developing company.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That makes a lot of sense. It is kind of a trap, isn't it?
What
That
do you mean?
mindset. Well, every new game, it's like, back to the drawing board.
Well, I can imagine that's how people from outside the medium think of it,
Mm-hmm.
They don't realize that there's some recycling going on there,
Yeah.
All right, we talked about Batman games. Wait, I guess before we move on from that, like, do you want another Arkham game?
No. And well, here's the thing. I want another Batman game, but this doesn't make sense financially, but just for me, I don't want any more Arkham titled games. I want Batman something else. You know what I mean? I think I've been feeling this way since Arkham Knight, I think. because they did Arkham Asylum, and when they did Arkham Asylum at the time, it was like just another Batman game. There had been a plethora of Batman games before, and then they did Arkham City, and at the time I was like, is Arkham? Because I thought Arkham Asylum was like the subtitle. I didn't think it was Arkham Asylum, Arkham City. So it always kind of threw me off, but I was with it. And then Arkham Knight, I was like, they're kind of struggling to figure out a way to keep that Arkham word in there at this point. Arkham Origins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like there's a whole universe out there. It doesn't have to be Arkham centered. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And just for in terms of search engine optimization, recognizability, association with past games, it's probably going to be called Arkham. I think you're right about that. I rescind my previous statement. But I don't want it to be called Arkham. I want them to do something else. I want it to be called something else.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's where I'm at.
That's fair. I think I'd like to see it, but I just don't. I don't know. I think it probably. I don't want it to be another Batman game because I think that with Knight it kind of ended, and I like the way that trilogy ended, not counting Arkham Origins. So yeah. I think making another, like extending that story is probably a bad idea, but that's probably what they're gonna do because it's gonna make money. You know.
Yeah, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of other stuff you can do with it, and unfortunately, Gotham Knights did the Court of Owls storyline, and they did not do it very well, and that sucks because I really like that storyline.
Took that one. It's gone.
Yeah,
now.
well, that's happened like 4 times. Like there's like 3 or 4 different Batman properties that are like super like not good quality that have done the Court of Owls storyline. Like the Gotham TV show did it, and
yeah,
you know
can't imagine that was very good.
I mean, it was about what you would imagine it would be. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen.
Okay, we can move on to the MGS3 thing. Batman Beyond would be hype. I think a lot of people would agree with that.
Yeah, I think that has probably the most potential. I think financially it's a good move too. I think that if they kind of like adjusted some things for the Arkham gameplay and kind of made it a little bit more like the Spider-Man and the Insomniac Spider-Man games, because that's Batman Beyond's origins, right? Batman Beyond was created to compete with Spider-Man. That's why he's a teenager. He's dealing with the drama and the responsibility. So I think that there's a lot of money to be made leaning into that and making it kind of embracing that it's Spider-Man, but dark and Batman. I think there's a lot of money there.
That's true. You're probably right. So this week, I think this was confirmed in, I would imagine one of the Legacy series videos that Konami has been doing on their YouTube channel for Metal Gear Solid. They confirmed the actress behind Eva, which has been, people knew this already, right? Was this common knowledge?
The fact that we didn't know who she was?
The theory that it was Jodie Benson.
I don't know if the theory was common knowledge.
Okay. Well, there was a theory that because the actress behind Eva had a pseudonym. It was Souza Minet, or Suzetta Minet, sorry, in the credits. And I think the theory was that it was Jodie Benson. Jodie Benson originally voiced Ariel in The Little Mermaid. And I thought people knew this. I could be wrong. Maybe I was wrong here. But they did officially confirm it this week in like a thing that it was Jodie Benson. She did like a little video thing for MGS3, which I think is kind of crazy to be, especially because Eva's so big in that story, such an iconic character in video games in general. And to just have the voice actress go officially uncredited for years and years and years is kind of insane. And we were talking about it before the show started, and you were saying like, why not just use your real name? Why use a pseudonym? And I brought up the idea that maybe it's just like games were not as loved as a medium
A lot of
or
a
respected.
lot of people were kind of embarrassed to be involved with a video game back then.
Yeah. I mean, it was the PlayStation 2 still, you know. It wasn't legitimized fully yet, especially people who didn't play video games. Probably looked down on them a little bit, and being like, yeah, I'm in a video game, wasn't as interesting of an idea. I still, to be honest, I don't even think it's still not that. I mean, I think we're at the point where I think if an actor came out and said like, I'm not going to be in a video game, that's stupid, people would be annoyed. But like, I still don't think we don't see like big budget.
Whoops.
Whoa, I'm double vision.
Hold up. Hang on.
I'm double vision right now. Oh,
I'm back.
there he's back. I think I think the idea of I think that idea is still around. You don't see, you know, A-list celebrity actors being in video games that often these days. And I don't think it, I mean, obviously it's a different skill as well, but
it happens more now for sure.
Yeah.
But it was rarer. I mean, Kojima has definitely normalized it done more to normalize it than a lot of people have. What are a couple of, what do you think are some notable celebrity video game performances in your opinion?
For some reason, like as I'm thinking of celebrity video game performances, the only one I can think of is fucking Kevin Spacey when he wasn't he in Call of Duty?
Yeah, Advanced Warfare. Dude. All right, look.
That's the only one I can think of right now.
Hang on. Separating art from the artist a little bit. His performance
Actually,
in that game
isn't a bad guy.
Kevin Spacey's performance as the villain in that game is iconic.
I didn't even play that game, so I don't know why that's the first thing I think of.
Well, he was a great villain.
he was method acting.
Yeah, he was method acting. We didn't know that. Dude, Advanced Warfare gave us some of the best Call of Duty memes of all time. That's the true one. Press F to pay respects.
Yeah, that's pay respects.
There's that iconic clip of Kevin Spacey like turning around in the Jeep and saying, "What you're seeing is Advanced Warfare."
Yeah. Well, I think that sticks in my brain because I remember they marketed his appearance in that game so heavy. Like it was like, this is a real video game because there's a real actor in this video game. There's like a real actor in here.
Another crazy one that I didn't know until I started doing the coverage on the series is Malcolm McDowell was the villain in Killzone 3.
Oh shit.
That's crazy, right?
That's insane.
Dude worked with Stanley Kubrick to go on to be a villain in a video game, Killzone 3.
Yeah,
he did a great job too, man. His performance in that game is stellar.
I mean, there's a lot of little ones here and there over the years. But
obviously Kiefer Sutherland as Venom Snake is
but I just feel like it's something where it should be more legitimized than it is now, but it isn't. You know what I mean? Like it feels like something that we're so far along with the medium, or maybe not even that, but just that I feel like sometimes it's easy to think that the medium is more legitimized than it actually is. I feel like most people still view it as like Fortnite. It's just games are Fortnite, you know, games are Fortnite, games are Call of Duty.
There's a part of me that kind of wants it to go back to being delegitimized a little bit.
That's fair.
What I mean?
That's fair.
There's definitely a part of me that wants to pull back from that. Sam Worthington is Mason in COD Black Ops. Oh yeah, of course. How could I forget? Hugh Jackman in Van Helsing, the iconic video game adaptation.
How could you forget?
Yeah. Dude, Hugh Jackman apparently has been in several video games.
Yeah.
He did Wolverine.
Yep. Yeah. I think he's just like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. I don't care.
Yeah, he didn't hide it, dude. There's clips of him from fucking X-Men Origin Wolverine game, like screaming in the mic, being like, "Oh yeah, this is fun." He wasn't ashamed.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's so weird that, you know, that such an iconic performance for so long has gone uncredited, and Kojima himself, being such a movie fan, has kept it a secret all these years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
He probably promised her. Probably promised her he would.
He never bragged about that, and he wanted to. He wanted to be like, this is a game, and there's a movie person in this game.
Mm-hmm.
He loved that idea. He was stoked on that idea, and he never said anything.
He's like, I got the Little Mermaid.
Yeah, I got the Little Mermaid. This is a movie game. That's what he was thinking. Kojima
got the little
keep a secret.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like that kind of guy, honestly. I mean,
it's fair.
This isn't news. One of his favorite things to do is to gaslight his own fan base by.
It's true.
Yeah, like we know he likes to lie and keep secrets and deceive.
When I was doing research for the MGS3 video, I found an article, or it was like a video that IGN had done during the lead up to MGS5. And it said it was called like why Kojima likes to troll his audience and like gains pleasure from trolling his audience or something. It was really weirdly worded, but in the video he was just like, yeah, I like to mess with people and like do big secrets or something. I can't remember what he said, but yeah, he's very honest about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's not like a malicious thing. It's like a game between him and his fan base. I think that I would far sooner take that than an alternative we've seen of a lot of game developers just openly like resenting the people who play their games. You know what I mean?
I mean, there's that too, but there's also like there's just so much theatrics when it comes to his games. There's weird ARGs, there's hidden messages.
It's part of the experience.
Codes. Yeah, it's like a PR machine. To somebody who's working with him, it's like, oh, okay, he's just going to do all the marketing for us and we don't really have to do anything. Even if there isn't secret codes hidden in the trailers and stuff, people are going to think there is anyways. So that's free marketing on its own.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of developers who want to get their audience involved and then reward that involvement. Because I feel like a lot of auteur artists like that in like very Kojima style, they tend to resent communities who try to get too involved with the product. They kind of see it as like loser mindset. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
It's like if they make a film that they think is art, and then when people like make theories about it and try to figure it out, a lot of times you'll see directors be like, "Oh, that's stupid. No, there's nothing else. That's dumb. Don't do that."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't like that. I like that Kojima gets excited with the community. He's like, I don't know, maybe that theory is true. I really like that a lot. It's one of the things I love about him.
It's like
Kojima.
Kojima podcast. You see that? Yeah. It's those clips where they'll be at like public Q&As and they'll be like on stage and then somebody will be like, did you mean to do this in the movie? Blah, blah, blah. And they'll be like, no. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Go back to the drawing board or something.
Like, they'll be like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah. It's very David Lynch. Like David Lynch is on the Kojima side of that, where he's like, I don't know. It's up to you. You figure it out.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not going to tell you what it's about. You have to figure it out. And that breeds, interpretation a lot of the time.
I think Tarantino is like that.
Yeah, probably.
I don't think I've ever seen Tarantino be smug about people who are excited about his movies,
Well, how many times do you think he's had to have people ask him what's in the fucking briefcase?
Well, that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about the briefcase, and he like doesn't tell anybody. I don't think I've ever heard him say it doesn't matter what's in the briefcase.
Yeah.
I mean, and if he did, I don't think it was ever like, it doesn't matter, it's just a movie. I think it would be like that's not the point. The point is the briefcase. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people. Daniel Craig is one of them who's like a smug. He doesn't have any respect for the audience. Harrison Ford is notorious for that. And it kind of grates on my nerves a little bit because like there's a swath of people who like think that that's endearing, how much he doesn't like the people who consume the stuff he's in.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig and Harrison Ford come to mind as people who like when someone expresses how excited they are, they like resent you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. They're like going back to what you were talking about with, you enjoying when people get involved or get the audience involved with what they're doing. It feels like the creator is putting themselves on the same level as the audience. They're saying like, I'm a fan as well. And this is something that I would like to see as a fan. And in the other situation, it feels like the creator is putting themselves above the audience. And they're like, here, I'm trickling these things down to you. And I'm up here.
That's exactly what it is. And, you know, I think there is a way to be, you know, if you're not someone who wants to get super involved in the audience, I think there's a way to strike a balance. Like George Lucas was notorious for saying shit like, oh, that shit doesn't matter. It's just about the movie. Yeah. Like there's people who have said that on the set of the second movie, he repeatedly referred to Count Dooku as Doku and as Dooku, both. And nobody actually knew how his name was supposed to be pronounced.
That's so funny.
Because George Lucas didn't seem to care. He'd be like, oh yeah. And then Doku is doing this.
Oh my God. That's so funny. It's so funny because it's such a high budget thing. Like probably one of the biggest things ever. And he just is in the driver's seat and doesn't know where he's going.
Well, yeah. And I like that he's not taking it so seriously. He's not like up his own ass. Like this is art. Get the name right. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I don't think he thinks less of fans for like getting super into it either. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just think, I think that's a good balance. A lot of artists are like up their own ass about things like that. And you don't have to be like that, you know?
Yeah. It's also funny thinking about the fact that on episode 2, that was the movie where they used the fucking cameras, where there was audio in every, buzzing audio and everything.
Everything had to be ADR.
So it just even adds to the idea that it's like, we're just burning money.
And he had it to burn. God. And then of course, Samuel L. Jackson said, can I pick my lightsaber color? There's a clip of this, actually. I can link you to it. And Lucas said, good guys get green or blue. Bad guys get red. Mm-hmm. And then Sam Jackson said, can I get purple? And Lucas said, all right, maybe we'll give you purple. And he got purple.
I got to think about it. I got to think if I can fit this into the
and he did get purple. It's just, it's funny to me. I like that. I like that he's not freaking out about it. He's like, no, it's got to be blue or red.
Yeah, that's so funny that he didn't know his name. Oh my God.
Doku.
That's insane.
Yeah, there's a bunch of little things like that apparently where he would mix up little details and then correct them later or something.
Like George Lucas, when he was filming those movies, he was just sleeping totally fine at night. He was getting, he was getting 8 hours hard, like a hard 8 hours. He did not give a shit. He was clocking in and out. He was like, oh yeah, Doku. Or Dooku. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, he doesn't answer to anybody, dude. It's his money. It's his project.
He's not taking calls after he's home. He's like, no, I don't answer the phone when I'm home. That's my time. That's my time.
That's one of the reasons I like the prequels so much, is that I can tell that they were just made by some guy who just really wanted to make them. He did not make those for money. He burned so much money making those.
That's so funny. Holy shit.
Doku.
Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk about was a Remedy thing. We had talked about this.
Alan Wake 2. That's right.
Alan Wake 2. Because we've sort of talked about this story in the past on past episodes, and I've also been going into it because I'm working on the Alan Wake 2 video right now. And just the post-release of Alan Wake 2 has been so interesting, because when it came out, it got really good reception. A lot of people were talking about it. It won a bunch of awards. It seemed like it was part of this big thing. And then news just started coming out where it was like, yeah, it's not doing as well as they expected, which seems to be the story for a lot of games these days.
Yeah.
But an article came out this week that is saying now Alan Wake 2 has recouped most of its development and marketing costs.
That's 1 year later, right? Alan Wake came out a year ago.
Yeah, 1 year later, and the final DLC just came out, The Lake House. So kind of what I was wondering was like, I wonder if all of their, like, the development of the DLCs was being
factored in there.
Yeah, factored into that initial success measurement. And then DLC 1 came out, and then now DLC 2 has come out, and they're like, okay, so the sales from DLC 1 and 2 are now all in, and it's like, okay, now we're getting to that number we wanted. You know?
I don't know. I mean, a year passing for you to make your budget back is really bad.
It's not good. It's not good.
That means they haven't made profit yet.
Yeah, 100%. We've
a year later.
We've known that for a bit. I think it's, there's a lot of reasons, and I think I've talked about this before. I think one of the hardest things is, you're making a sequel to a game that came out I think it was 12 years before. Even if you remaster the previous game and try to bring people up to speed, you're still making a direct sequel to a game that came out so long ago. And then on top of that, you're adding in the complexity of the Remedy-verse, and you're adding in elements of Control. And while you don't need to play Control to understand Alan Wake 2, while you don't even really need to you could probably not play Alan Wake and still understand Alan Wake 2's story just fine. They developed it so that it was a good jumping in point. It still is alienating to some people. They're gonna look at that from the outside and go, well, I need to play Alan Wake 2 first. And then maybe they do a little bit of research and they see, oh, this is a whole thing, and Control's wrapped in here too, so I probably need to play Control. And then maybe they just don't get to Alan Wake 2, So I think it's a little it's a little alienating. And I'm talking about this in my script, but it's one of the things that makes Remedy so interesting as a studio, is that they're willing to do this big universe crossover thematic shaping thing, but at the same time it's super alienating to a lot of people as well. And Control might be able to succeed on its own because it feels like its own thing, but Alan Wake is just I think a little bit harder of a sell for a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm sure that is a factor, but there's always the other factor that everybody has talked about. It's been beaten to death, but dude, that Epic Games exclusivity is rough.
Yeah, there's
on
that.
games.
There's
that is really rough on games. Steam is that big of a deal, and I wonder. I really do wonder. When they say Alan Wake 2 has made its budget back, are they factoring in the deal they got from Epic Games? Because Epic Games surely had to pay them for that exclusivity. I know Epic Games gives a much better profit margin. I know that. But surely they paid them for that exclusivity, right? They must have gotten an upfront financial payday for that.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know if it's upfront or if they get a bigger, if they get some sort of bigger revenue share from the sales, right. Less of a cut.
They do. That we know that for a fact. Epic Games lets the developer keep significantly more profit than Steam does. That's confirmed.
In general,
I forget what the exact numbers are.
But I'm saying maybe if there's exclusivity, they work out some deal
even
where they're
more.
It's even less. Yeah, something. I have no idea. But for whatever it is, they're getting something.
Well, I just wonder, right? So we're getting reports Alan Wake 2 has finally made back its budget. Does that factor? Are they counting the money they got paid for the exclusivity deal? Because that's not from the game. The exclusivity deal isn't money generated from selling Alan Wake 2. So maybe they actually have made more money on Alan Wake 2 than we think from that exclusivity deal. You know what I mean?
I don't think so, because if that were the case, they probably would have made a lot more money. The game technically would be profitable by now. And I don't think that whole, we talked about this a few weeks ago, but them taking that deal with Tencent as well.
Yeah,
I don't think that would have.
I know about that.
No, it was Annapurna. Sorry.
But I just really have to wonder, why take that kind of exclusivity deal? Because it's gonna hurt your sales. Unless there is a huge financial incentive, more so than just you keep more profit,
So a lot of Remedy's history is colored by what happened with the original Alan Wake and what happened with the original Alan Wake and what happened with Quantum Break. So when they made the original,
well, yeah, the Quantum Break situation is rough.
Yeah, when they made the original Alan Wake, their plan was we're going to leave this game because they made Max Payne, and when Max Payne finished and it was successful, they never had a plan for Max Payne 2. So they had to just come up with a sequel plan on the fly. They killed everybody off in the first game. They didn't plan on making another one. So they made another one. And then by the time they got to Alan Wake, they were like, we need to plan for this to be successful. We need to, have sequels in mind. So they had that in mind, but then they couldn't make another game because Microsoft owned the rights to Alan Wake. And then the same thing happened when they got to Quantum Break. They had to secure a publishing deal with Microsoft, and Microsoft ended up owning the rights to Quantum Break. So when they made Control, I'm blowing your mind right now. Control was about taking control of their, that's why it's called Control, is because they wanted to control their own IPs. They wanted to develop IPs that they could do spin-offs off of, that they could make sequels to, that they could wrap into a larger universe. They ended up getting control of the Alan Wake IP back as well, and then were able to wrap that into Control. But a lot of their history is colored by that, and a lot of their more recent history is colored by the fact that they are now trying to keep their IPs in their hands no matter what. So I'm sure they're just taking whatever deals they can that don't have it written in the contract that they can't do whatever the fuck they want with the game.
Right.
So if that means giving exclusivity rights to Epic, that just might be what they have to do.
I do think that the Max Payne remake is probably going to be very profitable, but do we think we going to see another exclusivity deal, or maybe they're going to?
That's a Rockstar game, so I doubt it. I think that's Rockstar's decision. They're probably just going to release that wherever they feel is necessary. Because that is like technically kind of separate from them. Like they're involved and stuff, but.
Well, yeah, I knew they were involved, so that's why I was wondering. What about are they still doing the Control multiplayer thing, or did they cancel that?
No, they did. They just that Xbox partner preview that got announced recently, or that Xbox partner preview that happened, they announced the game. It's called FBC Firebreak. It's going to be like a co-op first person sort of thing. It looks kind of cool. It could be interesting.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they're doing that, and then I think Control 2 is in full development now. So that's the next thing. FBC Firebreak, and then Control 2 and the Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes. So
I mean that's a pretty healthy roster,
yeah.
Honestly. Depending on what the cost of development is across these titles, they have a lot of potential to be very successful, I think.
Sir Riffs a lot said they launched on Epic Games, which is not Steam. Some fans want a physical release. Yeah, for sure. I think Epic Games had a lot to do with it as well. I think we've seen that across the board too. Like it's not just them. A ton of games that have gone exclusive on Epic have not done as well.
It's a problem.
Yeah, it's a huge problem. I really don't think people should do it. And the physical release thing, they did just come out with a physical release. It shipped once the final DLC had been released. So if you buy the physical release, you get all the DLC and everything. I bought it. There's actually a cool reversible cover, and on the back it's like an Alex Casey poster for an Alex Casey video or movie, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they did eventually release the physical edition. They initially didn't want to release the physical edition because they wanted to keep the cost down so that the game wasn't priced at $70, which I thought was a good decision. That's just me. The Epic thing, I played Alan Wake 2 on Epic. I had never played it on PC until I played it for this video that I'm working on. I played it on PS5 originally. And I played it on Epic, and I fucking hate Epic. Epic is terrible.
It's a pretty bad launcher.
It is a garbage launcher. Whoa. Oh.
I keep hitting the USB cord. Ignore that.
It's a garbage launcher. The the app is terrible to use. It's not as intuitive as Steam is. You know, it's hard to tell where your library is. It's hard to tell if you're clicking a game to see its library page or if you're starting the fucking game. The other thing is the achievements pop-ups are integrated into every game. They're integrated into the game, and you cannot get them off without deleting files from your fucking computer. There's no setting that you can turn off in Epic to get them to go away. You have to go into your fucking computer and delete files to get them to disappear. And they're intrusive. They're way worse than Steam's. It's not just a little pop up in the corner. It's you know, like the iPhone thing that takes up, you know, the top little curve that comes down. It's like that. It takes up like a fucking quarter of the screen at the top of the screen. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's insane, dude. It's nuts. And it plays this crazy loud chime. Awful.
And there's there's a ton of other like optimization issues and other weird choices associated with the Epic Games launcher that are just bizarre that they refuse to address.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. They should have never. I don't know why they got into this. I don't know why they did this, because I'm sure they must be making money off of it if they're still doing it. But like, you know, everybody had their little launcher during the launcher craze. You remember this? I mean, BattleNet still has their own launcher. Does Rockstar Games still have their own launcher?
I don't know about that anymore.
Maybe not. They might have ditched it.
I mean, you and I were in a chat when I was exposed to the Call of Duty launcher for the first time.
Yeah, they have their own launcher.
That's not even the same fucking thing. That's a launcher you have to get through another launcher.
Dude, that's launcher hell. You're in seven levels of launcher hell for Call of Duty.
I get mad. I get fake mad on purpose a lot because it's funny. I think I get a kick out of it, but that was actual mad. Yeah. I was not having a good time with the Call of Duty launcher.
Yeah, and but they just like went full bore with it. It feels like they were like, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna destroy Steam, and then look what didn't happen.
Gabe just keeps winning by doing nothing.
He doesn't have to do anything. He just makes millions and billions of dollars and loses a bunch of weight, apparently.
Yeah, he built a bunch of cool things and said, this is working. We'll adjust what we have to if it stops working.
Yeah.
And since it didn't stop working, it just kept working.
Dude, I when Epic started, you know, I was kind of like, I was always kind of against it just because I don't want to fucking use multiple libraries. I don't.
Yeah, it sucks.
I don't. I have my Steam library for all my PC stuff. And if I have anything else that's off it, it's like emulator shit. And I have it organized nicely in file layouts that I can access, and it's separated by console and stuff because I just want to have a good library that's manageable. And Steam is great for that because that's where all my games are. My games are just there. I don't want to have to open fucking 10 apps to get to my games. Do you remember
there was this, I don't remember what it's called, but there was this third party like Omni launcher thing that was supposed to take all of your other launchers and like force integrate them into one launcher. I do not remember what it was called. Do you? No, not GOG. It was something.
Does that?
Huh?
GOG Galaxy does that.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. No, I was thinking of something else. It was like it had some crazy name like Neon something. And it like force integrated all of the games and all of your launchers into one thing. It was interesting, but it did not work well at all, apparently.
I mean, yeah, because it just I remember like some of those programs. I don't know the one you're specifically talking about. I think GOG Galaxy does that. But yeah, it's maddening. It's maddening because it's all of these other hands trying to get into Steam's business. You know, it's like, we've already figured this out. It works great. Everybody loves it. Everybody's happy with it.
From an economic standpoint, hypothetically, it should be better for the consumer to have competition in a market, right?
Yes.
Hypothetically, it should be better because you want options, and competition is supposed to keep products from going overboard, charging too much, and
Free
doing
market.
things that are just generally bad practice for the consumer, or for the benefit of a greedy corporation, right?
Yeah.
But in cases like this, man, it's like this isn't benefiting the consumer at all.
It's like streaming. It's like streaming companies. It's the same
Yeah.
fucking thing, except it works for streaming companies. Nobody had like such a big foothold that it couldn't be removed from the top of the mountain before everybody else started coming in. So, but with streaming things, it's the same thing. You know, you have 20 different services you have to subscribe to, and there's just all this shitty competition. And it's not competition because it doesn't incentivize these companies to like make better content or anything. It just incentivizes them to like buy old libraries and make as much shitty content as they can.
Yeah, and somehow they make fucking awful content. And then dude, I'm convinced at this point that the majority of Netflix's original content is sheerly for tax write-offs.
Dude, it's lifetime movie tier.
It's worse.
Yeah.
I am convinced that all of Netflix's original content is strictly being created to write it off on their taxes. It has to be.
Speaking of Kevin Spacey, they used to be good. You know, they had House of Cards at one point.
Well, yeah, they had did you ever see the first season of Altered Carbon?
I did. I didn't see the whole first seison, but I saw some of it. That was pretty cool.
I really liked Altered Carbon. Of course, I never shut up about the Daredevil series, the Netflix Daredevil series. That I liked that a lot. Like, yeah, when Netflix started, there were a lot of really cool, high quality shows that you could find on Netflix. Which completely unrelated fun fact, the guy who wrote the book that Altered Carbon is based on also wrote the storyline for Syndicate, the video game, and he helped write the storyline for Crysis 2.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That
just
actually
a weird
that
tidbit.
fits actually. That makes sense.
Yeah.
They feel like aesthetically similar, you know.
Yeah, Crysis 2, Syndicate, and Altered Carbon are all technically connected to the same guy.
Damn. Yeah, it's just, I remember, you know, I mean, that people say this shit all the time. It's not exactly a hot take, but everybody remembers when like streaming was supposed to kill cable because everybody was so mad you had to pay all this money to buy a shit ton of different channels. And now the same exact thing. We got ourselves involved in the same exact situation where you have to pay $1 million to buy all these fucking different services.
I'll tell you though, dude, I think streaming did do a lot to kill cable.
No, I'm not saying it didn't kill cable. I'm saying people wanted it to be the solution to the problem of cable, and then it created.
And we're right back to where we started. Yeah. No, I got that. It's just I had like a flashback whenever you were saying that because, you know, I worked at Best Buy for like 5 years. I think the item I sold more of than anything else in that store was the Fire Stick.
Yeah.
I had it down to like
Fire Sticks, dude.
I had it down to like a memorized like script in my head because I said it so much on what the Fire Stick does and how to use it. And I always had to recite this thing because they talk about, you know, how do you get like free stuff on? I'd be like, I'm sorry, according to Best Buy policy, I cannot tell you how to do that. I cannot tell you anything about that, and I can't talk about it.
Yeah.
And they would always ask me because they wanted to jailbreak the fucking thing.
Yeah.
And it was insane because it was like 45-year-old women, like soccer moms and like boomers, like older guys, like boomers, anybody of any age. You know, normally with technology, the idea of like jailbreaking something, they just assume it's impossible for them to ever comprehend it.
Yeah.
But when it came to the fucking Fire Stick, it was a multiple times a week, every fucking week. I would have people of all ages asking me how to jailbreak a Fire Stick, and I'd always have to say, I cannot tell you.
That's because that stuff spreads like wildfire. That's like water cooler talk, you know, where people are like, did you know there's this thing you can get called a Fire Stick where you just get free? I mean, you know, old women had fucking the guy down the street that would give them the black box and get them all their free channels and shit back in the day, you know, like, or like, would be like buying bootleg DVDs in town or something, you know, like that shit is so, it spreads like wildfire. When people hear free media, they're like, oh fuck yeah, I can get this shit for free. I don't have to pay for it. That's awesome.
But somehow they don't know how to unplug a router and plug it the fuck back in.
They'll never figure out how to jailbreak it. They're going to have their grandson do it or something, you know, like they can't comprehend that stuff. That's too much. It's not that hard, but it's too much. I think I did jailbreak one of those, but I was in like high school. It was like when they first came out or something, you know.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
I may or may not be investigating jailbreaking a PlayStation Vita right now.
You can buy those on eBay. People pre-jailbreak them and then sell them for like $100 more.
I'm not doing that. It can't be that fucking hard.
No, it's not. It's not hard at all. But you can, like, I see them all the time. People sell them on eBay. They'll just buy Vitas and then jailbreak them and then charge $100 more for the jailbreaking service or whatever. It's like it's
a hustle.
I have a PS1 that's region free because
oh, that's cool.
But it's not that hard to. I didn't know this when I bought it. I was like, oh, it's probably a complicated thing. It's probably whatever. So I'm not going to do it. And I figured out afterwards, I didn't pay that much for it, but what people will do is like, I think this is I'm not good with mechanical circuit board shit. So this is like a stupid way to explain this, but there's like a board in the PlayStation 1 and it literally just has like a T route of like, I don't know how to fucking explain this, like circuit board shit that says like, if it goes this way, it's US. If it goes this way, it's Japan. And if you just solder that, then it just works for both.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be super convenient because Japanese copies of all the Silent Hill games are like super cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. I played the MGS3 integral release because that was Japanese only. I played that on there.
I own physical copies of Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3 Japanese. As well as the American, of course. I own physical for the American as well. But it's just for some reason I had it in my head 5 years ago that the Japanese copies were gonna be worth money someday, so I bought them. So I got them.
Yeah.
And they're not. The American ones are, so I looked out on that. I have a copy of Shattered Memories, which is the most valuable one, but
you know what I wanted to get into collecting?
What's that?
I can't remember what they're called, but they are I don't know if you've heard of this, but like in Japan at like movie theaters and stuff, when people go see movies, they give out these like booklets. They're like big booklets with like multiple pages that have like a ton of information on the movie and like screenshots and stuff and like behind the scenes stuff. Can't remember what they're called, but they give them out. If you go to Kojima's Twitter, this is a good of course, he'll post like pictures of the ones he sees and stuff. I've wanted to collect those because I think that's
that'd be a really cool thing to collect.
Yeah, I think that's a cool thing to collect. They are expensive though. They're like, it's like fucking $20 for like, just some paper.
Do you have any of those like strips of film from a movie that's framed? You know what I'm talking about? How they sell those?
I don't have one. My dad had one from The Phantom Menace.
Dude, because I want that bad.
Have you ever seen that version of the Phantom Menace?
I have.
Yeah, the box. I think my dad still has it.
I saw one selling on Facebook Marketplace the other day, and it was more than I was willing to pay for it, but I wanted it.
Yeah,
I have.
I can't remember what else it came. Oh, it came with a booklet that had like concept art in it and stuff too.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
yeah. I think I have one from both Silent Hill movies.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I have one from the original and one from Revelation.
That Revelations one you're probably going to lose money if you try to sell it. But you're going to have to pay somebody to take that from you.
No. Somebody will want that one. I promise.
Oh my God. Dizzy said, I'm so mad I found Police Knots, but it's in Japanese. I don't think it was ever released in English.
Hang on, let me put my dog. There it goes.
Oh, Evan died. Now we're doubled up. Doubled up.
I had to plug my cable in a weird. Come on, let's go.
Doubled up.
What they don't know is that this is all actually scripted.
It's all scripted. We said this from the beginning. Well, not the beginning, but it's all scripted.
We keep trying to tell you guys that you have to watch previous episodes or you're not going to understand. Now you're starting to see why, because you don't know what's going on with the camera right now.
You have no idea.
But you would know. You would know.
There was foreshadowing in episode 9, I believe it was, about this very event.
which you guys would know if you would have tuned in for that.
If
But
you would have.
there's people, you know, there's people missing this right now that are going to be tuning in next week, and they're not gonna have reference for the events we have planned.
They're
going
gonna
to
be like, what the fuck is going on? That's probably a good time to wrap it.
Yeah, we'll introduce our ARG website next week.
Yeah, that'll be next week. What do you got? Do you have anything coming out this week?
I do, actually, and it's related to we were talking about the Revenge of the Sith game for PS2.
Mm-hmm.
I have a video coming out on the Phantom Menace game for
Okay.
PS1.
Awesome. I remember that one.
Yeah.
I played that one.
Yeah, it's fucking bonkers. But I have a video coming out on that on Sunday at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard. So if you guys want to hear me talk about that old insane Phantom Menace game for 30 minutes, you're going to want to tune into that.
Hell yeah. I have a video coming out on Sunday at 1. It is another Worst Steam Games video. Some cool, some interesting games. There was a game I actually mostly liked in this one. So go check that out. And we'll be back next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another episode.
Right.
TGG Plus.